Method of accounting. Now basically, how do you calculate income under the head profits and gains of business and profession? We discussed earlier that in order to compute your income for tax purposes under the head profits and gains of business and profession, what you need to do is you take the profit and loss account as starting point. Now, if you remember and if you recall, basically there are three methods of accounting which can be used generally. Okay? So what happens is, let's say for example, there are three methods of accounting. Which are these? Cash, mercantile, and hybrid. Right? And we know all about these three methods, so I'm not getting into the details. For tax purposes, this method cannot be used. Right? So you have to either follow the cash basis of accounting or mercantile basis of accounting. Right? And depending on the statute by which you are governed, the requirements may vary. But you cannot follow a hybrid method of accounting for cash income tax purposes. Right? So basically, the method of accounting for tax purpose is only either a cash system or a mercantile system. Right? But the income has to be computed in accordance with the method which is regularly employed by the assessee. So it cannot be that in your books you are following a cash basis, okay, and for tax purposes, one fine day you come and say, hey, allow me mercantile basis of accounting for tax purposes. No. Income under the head profits and gains of business has to be computed in accordance with the method of accounting regularly employed by the assessee. So if you are regularly following a cash basis, it has to be followed by a cash basis. Similarly, the tax officer, he cannot just come back and say, look, I am going to, even though you follow cash basis of accounting, I will apply mercantile basis. So the income has to be computed in accordance with the method regularly employed by the assessee, right? And plus, it has to be computed in accordance with the accounting standard, which may be prescribed by the central government from time to time. So you all must be aware by now, even in class 12th, there is a little bit of a literature available on accounting standards in your accounts syllabus, right? But even if you don't had a chance to go through it, you must be studying this as a part of your IPCC accounts syllabus. The income under the head PGBP has to be calculated in accordance with the method of accounting regularly employed by the assessee and in accordance with the accounting standards. These accounting standards are prescribed by the central government for tax purposes. The idea is that, there is a consistency in terms of how you work on the tax side as well. For accounting, there are so many of these accounting standards, right? You must be studying them. For tax purposes, there are two accounting standards which the assessee has to follow, right? The first one is Accounting Standard 1 relating to disclosure of accounting policies, and Accounting Standard 2 relating to prior period and extraordinary items and changes in accounting policies. Just ignore this bullet, right? So these are the two accounting standards which are to be followed by the assessee, which have been prescribed by the central government for tax purposes. For accounting, as I told you, there are numerous of them, right? You have to see which one is applicable to you as an IPCC student. But for tax purposes, these are the only two which are applicable to you, right? Just to re-summarize the entire slide once again, there can be three methods of accounting. For tax purposes, there are only two which are allowed. You cannot follow hybrid method. Whatever is the method you are following, the tax has to be computed in accordance with the method which you are regularly employing, right? And plus, you also need to take into consideration the accounting standards which the central government may prescribe from time to time. There are two accounting standards which are prescribed right now. One relating to disclosure of accounting policies, and two relating to prior period and extraordinary items and changes in accounting policies. Right? So now let us move on to the next slide.